turn this one on. This one off. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to turn on the power here to saute our onion a little bit. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil into here. Get that heated a bit. Olive oil is one of your safer oils to use for heating and cooking with. It has a higher smoke temperature and also does not break down into a carcinogen like other oils can. Grapeseed oil is another great one if you're using for baking, because sometimes olive oil can be really heavy, right? So grapeseed oil is a nice lighter oil to use if you're doing baking. Sesame oil goes to a nice high temperature, excellent for things like stir fry. It also gives it a really nice flavor. And then we know avocado oil is pretty nice too, but I like to use the avocado more in a cold form, but yeah. Okay, so we put our oil in there, and I'm just going to put in our finely chopped onion. We'll get that sauteing up a little bit there, maybe. These, yep, it's going. Those burners can take a little bit longer, almost like camping. So we'll get that frying up a little bit. Now you'll notice the ingredients there are ketchup. You can use commercial or homemade. So I'm not demonstrating the ketchup today, but if you flip over one page to the front, you'll see at the bottom homemade ketchup. And this is my recipe for this ketchup, and I like to make it. When I make it, I use my homemade ketchup, and it works great. But you can do either or. If you're in a pinch and you're in a hurry, you don't have to make your own, right? But it's a very simple one to make. You're just using tomato sauce. Canned tomato sauce is fine. Add a little bit of sweetener if you want, some honey or maple syrup. Stevia, we talked a little bit about that yesterday. So just a pinch of stevia powder is excellent to add to the ketchup, and you have no sugar that way, especially if you're diabetic. A little bit of onion powder, tomato paste, lemon juice to give you that zip instead of vinegar. Sometimes vinegar can actually dry up your red blood cells. So especially if you fight with enough B12 and enough iron, then you want, the lemon juice does not do that to your blood, and it's good for you. So, and then a bit of garlic powder, and you just whisk that up. You don't have to cook it, nothing, and it works for ketchup. So you could try that at home if you would like to. Okay, so this is just sauteing up here a little bit. Now, if I were to work on one other recipe a little bit at the same time, would it confuse you? No? Okay. Because that might take a little bit to saute for me, more than what I'm... So, I am going to get you to go to that front page again, and we're going to do chickpeas. The roasted chickpeas is what I'm going to do for this salad. So I'm not going to make the salad yet, but I'm going to do the chickpeas because these guys got to roast in the oven, and then you want them to cool down to a room temperature. So I'll get the chickpeas going in the meantime. Sure. Yeah, I could just set it over from it. Thank you. Excellent. And I will need the cookie sheet part too. Thank you. You know what? Spray it. Okay, so for the chickpeas and garbanzo beans, by the way, are the exact same thing. So when you're buying them in the store and you're looking for one and you see the other, it's the same. It's just size difference, chickpea versus garbanzo beans. So these were just in a can. Thank you. And we just drained off that juice. So canned beans, by the way, are fine. The issue is if you're watching your sodium, it's usually in the juice. So as long as you drain it and give it a rinse, you're getting rid of most of that sodium. And most of them don't have preservatives and all that. So canned plain beans are totally healthy and fine. You can also bake your own, of course, especially if you have a crock pot or a slow cooker, and it's cheaper that way, right? You buy those beans, cook them up, make a nice big batch, and put 1 or 2 cups into containers or Ziploc bags and freeze them. And every time you need some, just pull them out of your freezer. Okay, let's see what we got here. Sure. I think there's another tray. Is there another tray? Because I think I'm missing things. We have the lemon juice. This is all for the salad. There should be another one that has the seasonings for my chickpeas. So you want to kind of saute these so that they become translucent and kind of start to brown even a little bit. Oh, you know what? I think it's done. Maybe it's done for us. I'm not too sure. Maybe find out if everything's on here and if I still need to roast it or I'm not sure what we'll see. Has this been done already? Is that what this is? Has it been baked already? Yeah. That's why. So I'm not demoing it then? No. Okay. So the chickpeas I don't demo. I don't see it. Okay, I'm not. So let me explain how to do it. That's okay. So your roasted chickpeas, you drain your can of chickpeas, put it into a bowl, okay? You're going to toss it with a little bit of olive oil, and then just toss it with your sea salt, your garlic powder, and your onion powder, okay? And then just put it onto a greased cookie sheet and bake it in the oven. Give it a stir halfway through and then bake it again, okay? Make sense? Okay. Okay, and then cool it down to room temperature, which is nice. Okay, well, let's go back to our ketchup here. Starting to brown a little, so that's good news. Just leave it another minute or so. So I guess we don't need this then. Thank you. Any questions? So far so good? Okay, so you'll see with the salad, the purpose of the roasted chickpeas is especially wonderful for people who are gluten-free and can't have croutons. So it becomes kind of your crouton in your salad. But the chickpeas, you're adding fiber and you're adding protein and lots of nutrients by using the roasted chickpeas as well. Most croutons we use is white bread and doesn't have a lot of nutrients, right? So your chickpeas is definitely a way of more nutrients. Okay, so to this now we may as well go and add the rest to our dish. Just going to go ahead and put in our tomato, our ketchup. So again, commercial or homemade, your choice. And you can find homemade ketchup, or sorry, commercial ketchup that uses organic sugar or less of the refined sugars. Oh. We'll add a bit of water and some extra, little bit of cane sugar. Yes, sure. Sorry, what was? Sesame seed oil, very good. It goes to a nice high temperature, which is excellent, and it gives it such a nice flavor. And any oil that you can find cold pressed is ideal, especially you know, if you're using it in the cold form as well for salads and that. But yeah, no, I think sesame oil is good. I like it. Yeah. What am I using here? Oh, there is a little bit of liquid smoke. Have you heard of that? Yeah, so I think I have some bottles back there too. You could see what it's like, but you just use a teaspoon of this liquid smoke in here. Okay, I think everything's in here now. And you just want it to saute a little bit, get those flavors amalgamated. And if you have really firm meatballs, you know, you can throw them in here to saute a little bit and get the flavor through, or put this into a casserole dish, pour this over it, and bake it. So, all right. So there is that one. Next I may as well just finish off this salad for you then, because they're already sampling your salad. So we'll do the salad next here. So this is the front page, your kale Caesar salad, all right? So we have kale. Now when it comes to kale, it is very, very good for you. There's one doctor that, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Greger? Dr. Greger? Michael Greger? Anyways, he's very funny. And he likes to be a comedian at the same time. And he has this big head of kale, and he's like, all hail kale. Like, you'll remember it forever. All hail kale, because it is the best of the best when it comes to green foods for nutrients, okay? So when you have kale, it's on a stalk, and it's quite a hard stalk. And so you might not want those big hard chunks in a salad like this. And so you don't have to cut it off and everything. You take, actually, I should have had a piece to show you, but you hang on to the bottom stalk of that kale and run your fingers upwards, and it comes right off, and you're left with the stalk, and you got the kale. And then chop it up. And I find for salads like this, I almost like to chop my kale kind of on the smaller side, so it's easier. And kale has, depending on the type of kale you're using, it can have a lot of, it definitely is fibrous, but some are more hardy than others, right? So the key to doing that is to massage the kale. So I'm just gonna put these on. And you can just drizzle either a little bit of olive oil into it to kind of massage it, or what we're gonna do, I don't have any here, so I'm just with us today, so I'm just going to blend this in a blender. The salad dressing, and then I'll massage it actually onto the kale first before I pour all the rest of the salad in, just to kind of soften it. So your salad dressing is a large avocado. So instead of using a lot of oil in this recipe, we're just doing the nice whole avocado. And then to that, I'm going to put in 2 fresh garlic cloves. If you like lots of garlic, you could use more. If you don't like too much, you can use less. Again, for a bit of zip, I'm adding in the lemon juice, right? There we are. Whoops, boy, these gloves make me sloppier. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of water to this. Maybe. There we go. Our water. And a touch of sea salt. So again, Himalayan or Celtic salt, whatever you like. And to that, again, nutritional yeast flakes that we discussed on, right? We're going to put that there. And we're just going to blend this up, and you want to blend it nice and smooth. All right, got your rain capes on? Grab you that, thank you. And we'll just plug this one in. Excellent. Hopefully it's all off. All right, we're safe. Very good. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Hopefully that's nice and smooth. Looks pretty good. I am just going to, before we totally burn this one, we should turn it off. But it looks good now. This is perfect. There, that's off. Okay. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this on. But like I said, you could drizzle a little bit of olive oil if you want. But otherwise, we'll just use some of the dressing. And then just kind of mix it around and give it a good massage so that we soften those fibrous veins in there, okay? So just give it a good, and you can see it, how it just starts to wilt a little bit, right? Just breaks it down so it's nice and soft. Now, I'm not sure if did that get done with your salad? Did it feel soft or a little bit still hardish? Not bad? Good, good. Whoops. There we are. So I can just feel, I can feel that it's soft. So then I know that's good enough. I'm done that. So just try to get this off. Oops. And we'll mix in the remainder of everything here. So to this, we're going to add some thinly sliced red onions. A spatula. Thank you. And then to that, we're going to add some leaf lettuce. Awesome, thanks. Or not leaf lettuce, romaine lettuce. It's a Caesar salad, right? And we'll put in the rest of our avocado dressing here. All right. There you go. What did you think of the salad? Was it good? Oh, good, good. So most Caesar salads, of course, you know, they will have raw egg in them. They'll have sardines in them in the dressing. So a lot of eggs, sardines. So this will cause, of course, higher cholesterol, high fat. This you'd have, it's a good fat, right? And again, all plant-based. So we just mix this up and we will add to this our chickpeas now. So our cooled off chickpeas, and you can add in as many as you like. I think that we have extra there. Did you get chickpeas in your salad? Yes. Okay, good. I started to wonder if I had the wrong jar. But that's it, ta-da! And it looks like what you're eating? Okay, very good, very good. It's on here. You. All right. Any questions on that? So far, so good, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's go back now. Our next one is going to be the pie, the very back page. Our oatmeal pie crust and banana filling. So this is a banana cream filling. So, excellent.
Bring the other.
Sure. Okay, perfect. So this is pretty much a gluten-free pie, assuming you can get away with eating the oats. Okay, so by making the oats, I find that it works almost like graham crumbs is kind of what it replaces. Okay, so I am going to grab my food processor here again. That on. And And we're going to put our oats. These are rolled oats into our blender here. Okay. Oops. And we're just going to, well, plug it in first would be a good idea, right? Let's see. Plug this in. All right, and we'll just pulsate it there. Just a little bit. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and add. There's a touch of cinnamon I add. That gives it that, that graham cracker sort of flavor to it. Okay, and then a little bit of salt, I believe, as well, correct? Yeah. Okay. That, and we'll pulsate it. So you decide how much texture you want it to have. But a little bit of texture is nice. Okay, and then you can either put it into a bowl and mix it up, or we can try and see what we get here. We have vanilla and our coconut and maple syrup. Oil. Here's our maple syrup. And we can also pulsate it right in the mixer instead. So let's try that. We're going to put in our pure maple syrup. Okay, so this isn't just table syrup that's been made with lots of sugar. This is pure maple syrup. A little bit of vanilla. Okay, and then we're going to put in some coconut oil. So coconut oil can work well instead of shortening, but you can also use just olive oil in this recipe. Sometimes I find olive oil, though, can almost make a crust go hard, like a real hard cookie, whereas coconut oil will give it that crispiness, but still not go really hard. All here. There we are. Oh. Yes, yes. Sometimes, I mean, again, the cold pressed idea is ideal. Some are deodorized, meaning they've taken that smell and taste of the coconut out of it. I don't know what that process involves, if it's as good, but yeah, I usually go for just the unrefined cold pressed. Yeah. So I'm just going to pulsate that a bit and try to mix this in. Hopefully it'll do it for us without... Yes, coconut oil is a saturated fat, but it is a very stable fat, so cooking with it is safe. Yeah. It's just if you're trying to watch your calorie count, you know, or your, and I'll talk about this with your cholesterol, because saturated fat can cause your cholesterol to not come down. So you may choose the olive oil instead in that case. I think we did okay with that. Okay. We don't really need that. So I'm just gonna spread this around a little bit. And if you're not a pie maker, honestly, pies are not my best thing either, not my friend. I don't enjoy making pies when I have to do a top crust, bottom crust, all that stuff. This one is very simple to be done. So I just sprayed it a little. Of course, it just wanted to, as it sat, kind of all ran down. So I've just removed it around on the pan there to make sure it was covering so it doesn't stick and burn. So we put our crust into our pie plate, and you just go ahead and press it up on the bottom, along the sides. And if you like the texture, great. If you don't like texture, just keep blending it so that it blends into a flour more like graham crumbs. One hand doesn't work quite as well. Let's do 2 into this. Oops. Okay. Sometimes a fork works really good to press it in and around and up. But it's just like having a cookie for your crust. So if people don't like the taste of crust, they'll like maybe this a little more like a cookie. Okay, let me just try to get it looking somewhat nice here. And then you just want to pre-bake this because your filling will not go into the oven. It's just going to be thickened on a stove, or if you have a Vitamix, you can run it in your Vitamix till it turns nice and hot and thick, whichever way works. But it's not going to bake with the crust in the oven, okay? So we'll just do this, and we'll just pop this now into the oven, and then we'll bring it back when it's...
So what are one of your favorite desserts you like to do? Either or not?
No, I'm a cake person. Thank you. I like cakes, I will admit. Yeah, and I like making dairy-free cheesecakes. Those are my favorite. Yeah. Any other questions? On that one, so far so good? Okay. This we can maybe take. I'll let you grab that because it's hot. Thank you. And we will just put a pot here. And we will do the filling now. That's what happened to that dish. We couldn't find it. Sure. Yes. For sure. No, you can use whatever kind you want. Same measurements, it'll work perfect. Yeah, even regular. Once I put all the ingredients in, I just whisk it a little bit. Yeah, let it sit for a couple minutes and whisk it. She was asking about, yesterday I was talking about a chia pudding, and I gave the measurements for the chia pudding, which is 1/4 cup of chia seeds, and then 1 cup of milk of your choice, and then a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of maple syrup if you want. Let it sit, mix it, let it sit a few minutes, and then whisk it, and then just cover it and pop it in your fridge. And it's good to go. And it'll keep a week. So that's why you can do a few ahead, or you can do a bigger bowl of it. Yeah.
Did we mention that yesterday's presentations
Yes.
were available
Online.
YouTube?
That's true. Good
Just
point.
type in on YouTube, Work Staff, SDA Church, and you'll find it on the live stream section of the morning presentation. And switch the videos.
Thank you. These are clean. Yeah, good point. Forgot about that, so you'll hear that
It's
too.
being recorded right now, so we'll upload this and be available. My apologies, I didn't have the sound on for the first half an hour here, so found the button, the switch here. I'm working with new technology here.
Well, at least you found it before it was right over. Okay, so for our filling, we're going to use an almond milk. 3 cups of almond milk, some dried pineapple. Okay, so we'll put in that dried pineapple. Oops. And we're also going to put in some cornstarch. If you don't want to use corn or cornstarch, you can use tapioca starch, works equally good. Arrowroot powder can, but it doesn't set up quite as well. So arrowroot powder I like to interchange with the cornstarch. Okay, we'll put that in there. We'll put in a bit of vanilla, tablespoon of vanilla. And we will also put in a pinch of some Himalayan sea salt. And that's it. We will put this lid on and give it a good blend. Do that. Move this back here. And you want to blend it so it's super smooth You don't want to be able to have any grit or anything to it, right? This is a nice creamy pudding is what we want. Oops. Real creamy. So oops. That's okay. So you want to make sure no one was sleeping. So depending on the pineapple, how dry your pineapple is makes a difference. Of course, that noise you heard in the beginning and how long it takes to blend smooth. But you see how nice and smooth and creamy that is? Yeah, it makes a really nice like vanilla type pudding. Well, I kind of cheat because we have our health food store, so I have it there. I do have some with me today as well. Otherwise, health food stores, I think Superstore probably has some. At least they used to. I don't know anymore. They used to have bulk bins that they had it in. Costco, yeah. Yeah, so I have some in rings that you want to just cut up into bits, or I think I also have little chunks back there. Both choices. Now, if you have my cookbooks or if you get my cookbooks, another thing I use my dried pineapple for is to make jams. Very good when you're taking a frozen berries and let them sit and soak over your dried pineapple. And then it soaks into that dried pineapple, and then when you blend it up in a food processor, it thickens it up nice and makes a wonderful jam. That's the sweetener and the thickener for it. So now we just want to thicken this up like a pudding. We'll bring it, well, I guess turning it on helps, right? Out there. So we'll just kind of watch it and make sure it doesn't scorch or burn. If you have a Vitamix at home, a lot of times in my kitchen, I mean, I won't bore you all with it here, but I'll turn it on and just let it run. And you can hear that tone change, and it actually bubbles and thickens right in my Vitamix. And then I just pour it into my pie. What's that? Oh, is that what it is? Thank you. See, thanks. Good eye. Exactly. Appreciate it. Very good. So I have a banana as well. When that crust comes out, we'll just slice some fresh banana on there, put your pudding on, and then when you serve it, you can serve it with like a coconut whip topping, maybe a fresh slice of banana, anything like that is good. Thank you. Okay, so while that is cooking, we'll stir it every so often there, and we'll just go ahead and do another dish. Okay, so in the meantime, let's go a page back, and you will see the black-eyed bean topping. In the black-eyed bean topping, we will just use what's in here. Oh, I guess so. This back, we have, excellent. Sure. I forgot I had this was rice to be cooked. Good thing we cooked it ahead for you guys, right? You wouldn't be eating. All right. I'm going to use this frying pan here. I just don't want to. If I plug this one on, I will blow a fuse, correct?
Well, I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Should we try it or no?
Well, we just have to find the breaker and hope that hope for the best. We've done it before and had to find the breaker. And
That's what I was wondering. Otherwise, I could get them to thicken this up on the stove in the back. Maybe we should do that then. That's what we'll do. Maybe we'll thicken that. Yeah, and then we don't have to risk in case that wants to. We'll re-unplug that, and we'll be using this instead. Okay. So, black-eyed peas. First of all, you would use your water. Is everyone familiar with black-eyed peas or black-eyed beans? Yeah? So your water and your black-eyed peas, the measurements, go into a pot and you just simmer it until they are well cooked. So like a good half hour or so, right? And just test them that they are nice and soft. Black-eyed peas especially are high in folic acid, very good for depression and for cognitive focus as well. It is a pea, not fully a bean, so people who have troubles digesting beans, they can sometimes do pretty good using these. They're not as, for causing digestion issues as much as well. Okay, so we've gone ahead, I've cooked these are done, ready to go, okay? And so into my frying pan there, I am going to, you can start off with a little bit of oil if you want. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to put in my tomato sauce. Maybe a spatula again, or no? Oh, yeah, that'll work. Sure, thank you. And we'll put in our onions and our garlic. There are. Here's our chopped onions. Okay, let's make sure we turn that on. Some chopped onion. And we will put in there our garlic as well, some fresh minced garlic. And again, if you really like garlic, you can add more. I used to cook at a church camp, and there was a lady sometimes that would come and try to help me in the kitchen a bit, but she was a lover of garlic. And I was trying to tell her, not everyone is. And I make a different Caesar salad as well, and I'd be putting everything in the blender, and I thought I have everything pretty much done. I come back and she's blending it again, and that's because she threw in another handful of garlic. So people would be eating going, I'm innocent. And we'll, exactly. Making sure no one gets sick that weekend of camp. This is chopped up, finely chopped up zucchini. And so, sometimes you just don't know what to do with all that zucchini, right? So this is a great dish for that. You can also add other veggies and other things as well. Make it your own. There's so much you can do with zucchini, by the way. Did you know you can make apple pies and replace the apple with zucchini? And people don't know the difference. You have to peel it and then, slice it like an apple with your cinnamon and everything. And people can't believe it's zucchini. So this summer, when you don't know what to do with all your zucchini, Google zucchini pie. Might be worth a try. Again, for the sake of everything, I'm just going to go ahead and throw everything in. So we have some shredded carrot to put in here as well. Okay, and some diced tomatoes. So you can use a can of diced tomatoes. You can use your own diced tomatoes. Add a stir. And we're going to serve this over that rice. But a lot of times at home, instead of rice, I really like it served over cooked quinoa. Is everyone familiar with quinoa? Yeah. Anyone not tried quinoa before? Yeah, quinoa. It's spelled quinoa, but it's pronounced quinoa. And it is a complete gluten-free grain, complete protein, gluten-free grain. And it's high in calcium. And I find it just less, it's not starchy like rice, it's just, less heavy, it's lighter. And so you can cook it up like rice and use it in place of rice, and you've got a whole grain that way, which is really nice. Couscous is actually not a whole grain, whereas quinoa is a complete grain, so you can interchange them. But couscous is actually just pasta. Yeah, it's just white flour. Yeah, so it is. You can get whole wheat couscous. It's just harder to find, but it's pasta, basically pasta. Okay, so to this, I'm adding some dry basil, crushed basil to this. We're going to add some cumin powder, some ginger powder. If you're a ginger fan, you can put fresh ginger in with your garlic. And a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. Oops, this is clean. We'll mix this up. So yeah, this is a complete meal in itself with your whole grain, whichever you put it on. Some people I know really like buckwheat. And so you could cook up buckwheat like you would rice as well and use it. All right, I think this is going to take a while to cook. I don't hear much action with it, so I'm just going to put a lid on there and we'll see what happens. But anyways, you get the finished product there. How does it taste? I'll put in the beans after a bit here. Thank you. Excellent. All right, any questions on that one? It's good? Good, good. It's filling, isn't it? It's a great way to get veggies into you and lots of protein. Now you can change it up, like I said, change your flavorings, change your seasoning, turn it into like a curry dish more if you want to, or, what's that? Ginger. You like the ginger in it, or it needs more? Needs more, yeah. If you're a ginger fan, use fresh ginger and saute it with the onions and garlic. It'll be stronger. I just try with the cooking class not to be too overpowering in any of those, too much garlic, too much ginger, or whatever, because everyone can adapt it then, But yeah, for sure. And ginger is very good for you. Very good. Any other questions on that one? We're good? Okay. Maybe we'll do the cauliflower next. We're going to do your cauliflower, which is, again, the third page. Creamed cauliflower peas. This is a casserole, kind of as a vegetable side casserole. Very yummy. All right. I think I'll just, we'll just unplug that one and we can mix that into there after. No, we ended up cooking the filling at the back. I think I have a little pot of cauliflower. Might be still on the stove. So what you want to first do is put a little bit of water in a pot, or you can use a steamer, and you do your cauliflower head, cut it up into pieces, put it in that pot, thinly slice some onions, perfect, put it in the pot, and steam it. So that's what I just went ahead and I had done here. Is the cauliflower and the onions steamed, okay? And then just go ahead and pop that into a casserole dish that has a lid, or one that has a lid, or one that you might, tin foil or whatever. But put your cauliflower and your onions there. And Everyone can see that on the screen, okay? Am I in the right position? Okay. Some frozen peas. You can thaw your peas, use them frozen right away, it doesn't matter. Put those in. Okay. And then we're going to make the sauce, a cheese sauce for this. So I use again, and we're using an almond milk, I believe, again. But you can use whatever kind you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in here. Nice rich one. Okay. And then to that I'm going to add some flour. And you can use whatever flour you want. This is just for thickener a little bit, so I'm not too concerned about using a whole wheat flour versus a white flour because it's more just for that thickener, a couple of tablespoons, right? If I was making bread, of course, I want my whole grain bread as much as possible. So I'm putting flour in there. If you are gluten-free and you don't want the flour, of course, you can use something else like tapioca starch again, right? Or cornstarch or whatever you want. To that as well, I'm going to add maybe, a little bit of salt to this. Okay, and then to that, I'm going to also add my, again, nutritional yeast flakes. So this is giving it, in this time especially, that cheesy-like flavor because I'm making a cheese sauce for this, okay? So I'm using my nutritional yeast flakes in there. And to that, I will also add my lemon juice because cheese has a little bit of zip to it, right? So I need a little bit of zip. That's my fresh squeezed lemon juice. And then to that, I'm going to add fresh garlic, but you can use garlic powder if you prefer. I'm using a little bit of fresh onion, but again, you can use onion powder if you like. I do it both ways. And for color, you can use pimento, which is roasted red bell pepper, but make sure it's not pickled. Or in this case, I'm using a fresh red bell pepper chopped up. I'm adding that to here, okay? And that's it. We're going to put our lid on and we're going to blend it. Now again, you want to blend it very smooth. Now if I was making this for a cheese sauce to use for different things, I would thicken it right away and use it like on pasta, or I could do it like for nacho chips, anything like that, right? But I'm not going to worry about thickening it in this round because all of this is going to be baked in the oven. So I'm just going to blend this nice and smooth. And then I'm going to pour it on here, right? Is that what I'm telling you to do? I'm telling you to thicken it first, aren't I? So you can do either way. Actually, it is better if you thicken it first somewhat, depending how much your cauliflower is cooked. Because if you put it on and you bake it too long, your cauliflower can become mushier. That would be the downfall, okay? So let's go ahead though, and we'll blend this smooth. I'm just going to let it run a couple of minutes. Let's see if we can somewhat thicken it a little bit. Yes, just, yeah, cashews and water will work well. Yeah. Do we have a spatula? Thank you. Okay, thanks. Well, I think that's taking longer than we want, so I'm getting impatient. So let's just go with this. I want you all bored. But you can see it's starting to heat up, right? So a little bit longer, it would thicken better yet. But I'm just going to go ahead and pour this on. Do you see that? Doesn't that look like cheese sauce? Now, someone asked me, could we use cashews instead? And that's because actually in my cookbook, I do have cheese sauce recipes, and we just use raw cashews with a bit of water, and you make your own cashew cream milk instead of buying one. Yeah, it works very good. And then that's it. We just mix that up. And if you thicken it first, of course, it's going to be a little bit thicker. But now as you bake that in the oven, it's going to bake up nice and thick anyways. Nice and bubbly. Any questions on that? Pretty easy? Yeah, see? You could, definitely, yes. Sure. I'll have to say I'm not an eggplant lover, but you could do that. I went to Africa once. I was there for a month. I used to be an eye technologist, and I went there to help do eye surgeries. And they fed us chopped eggplant, just threw it in a pot with water and boiled it, and that was our food every day. I lost weight. It was a diet plan. It was like, ugh. I didn't like eggplant when I went, and I came home hating it.
Was it seasoned, no?
No. No, it was just chopped, water, boiled. That was it. Yeah. And you want to know something really funny? We would go to the different people's huts, their hut houses, right? And in their huts, each one took us for a dinner each day and would cook us this dinner. So it was between chopped eggplant. They would chop up some kind of green veggie. I'm not even sure what it was. Reminds me of kale. And they make it really salty, and a bit of sour. And then after doing eye surgeries all day, I did all the anesthetist work. I froze all the eyes for the surgeries and that. And after seeing this all day long, they brought me out this bowl of soup. And it was tomato soup with eggs cut in half, floating in this tomato soup. I was like, you have no idea what that looks like right now. I cannot eat that. That was the hardest part about being there, I think. It wasn't roughing, it wasn't the malaria and all those other risks, it was the food. No, it was funny. Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the pie now, your crust, it's ideal if you can let it cool, right? Because when you put your bananas on, it's going to cook the bananas. And I don't know, I like fresh bananas. But so you've got nice samples coming of ones that have cooled. But mine has the hot crust. And so it might make these bananas a little soggy. So, but we'll just go ahead and Pastor Daryl will probably be eating soggy banana pie tomorrow. So I'm just slicing these fresh bananas. I went to Zambia. Zambia, yeah, that was a number of years ago now. Yeah, it's a good experience for sure. They wanted my husband and I to move there afterwards and actually become, like there, you don't have to be a full ophthalmologist to do surgery because they're so desperate. So they wanted us to move there and do surgeries. But it was pretty primitive. I mean, we were doing surgeries in the dark. If we didn't finish, the sun went down like that. And if it was dark, we'd have to shine some headlights in the window and try to do surgery under these headlights. I don't know, we hadn't had kids yet, and the thought of moving to Africa was, that part was quite we weren't ready for it in our lives yet. Okay, now I pour this pudding over the top. I will say I loved the people there, though. They had hearts of gold. Oops. So other times I make a coconut crust, and I do this kind of filling using a coconut extract, and you can make like a coconut cream pie as well with this. You could add carob or chocolate powder to this and make a chocolate pie. So lots of options, right? And that's it. Yes, yes, for sure. Or a lot of times I'll just use a little bit of flour, shredded coconut, and a little bit of milk to make it stick together, and press that out and make a coconut pie shell. Yeah. Thank you. And that's it. So when you serve it, if you want to serve it with a little whipped topping, you know, you can make a coconut whipped topping even, or just squirt a little bit on a fresh banana wedge. It's very pretty, right? What is that one? Oh, that's the cauliflower. It almost looked like soup. I was trying to figure out what soup. Yes. Do I always? Rinse your rice. Yes, that's a very good idea. Rinsing your rice. Because it can be dirty, but it also helps get some of the starch out. Yeah. Even your quinoa grain, give it a rinse. It comes pre-rinsed now. You know, quinoa has a bitter coating on it. And so it's important to rinse that bitter coating off. But now they're pre-rinsing it by the time you get it, because people didn't realize, and then they didn't like quinoa because it tasted bitter, and yeah. It's good to rinse all those things, even your cashews, your lentils, anything you cook, rinse it first. Give it a little rinse, yeah. What do you think of the cauliflower? Is it good? Yeah, and that's a plant-based cheese sauce. Pretty cool, hey? Yeah. So again, no cholesterol, no high fat. So if you want to make a balm, do you know the recipe to make a balm? An edible balm? 2 ingredients, saturated fat and cholesterol. You put them together, and that's what causes your heart disease and your cholesterol to raise and so forth. Animal products have both. Meat, dairy, cheese, the more concentrated, the higher it is, right? So if you were using skim milk or yogurt, it's going to be very low compared to a steak or a slab of cheese, right? That's going to be higher. And so those two together cause all these ailments, and they have 0 for fiber, right? But they have saturated fat and cholesterol. Plant products have 0 cholesterol, 0 in the way of like no cholesterol, but some have saturated fat, right? Like we talked about coconut. Coconut oil can be saturated fat, but it does not have cholesterol. So it does not have the recipe for the balm. So if someone's trying to lower their cholesterol though, You might want to cut out the saturated plant foods as well, trying to help lower that cholesterol, but especially if you eat animal products. So if you're eating animal products and you're using coconut oil, that's going to escalate your cholesterol levels. It's going to escalate the idea of maybe clogging of the arteries. But if you're eating plant-based food, you can enjoy more coconut and coconut oil and coconut milk because it won't do that, because you have no cholesterol for it to bind to. Does that make sense? Yeah. So here's kind of a funny, neat way to remember what has cholesterol and what doesn't, is if it has a face or a mother. If it has a face or a mother, it has cholesterol, right? So if you think about coconuts, no face, no mother, no cholesterol, right? Olives, no face, no mother. What about cheese? Well, it comes from, right? It's a product of a face and a mother. Fish has face and a mother, right? Fish does not grow in your garden. Some fish has the same cholesterol as red meat, has the same amount. It has some omega fats, which is good, but you can get your omega fats from where? Walnuts and flax seeds that we talked about yesterday, and that has none of that cholesterol. So if you want to reverse heart disease or anything like that, that is where you're going to go more with the plant-based foods as much as possible, because that extra fiber is also going to make that difference. Any other questions before we move on? I think we've covered all our recipes, right? I think so. Any I missed? Yes. That's coming. I ate it. It's coming. It will come.
You don't eat, we take home.
He's like, you're full, right? All right. Yep, I think we've covered it all. Okay, so if there's no other questions, should we just go ahead with the program? Yes, you will get dessert, I promise. They will be serving you the dessert. We'll make sure of it. Otherwise, we'll all protest. Okay, do I dare walk over there? Will I squeal? I'm good till I'm not. Yep, okay. That's all right. Okay. Okay, you can see everything okay here? Do you want a light off, or will it make a difference? No, you can see? Okay, very good. So this is kind of a continuation somewhat of what we discussed yesterday as well. Today is restore, renew, detox, digest, and rest. So we kind of hit on a few of these things yesterday to do with the adrenal glands and thyroid and so forth. So we know we need water, right? The human body is actually 75% water and only 25% solid material. So that shows us how much we need water. Here it is, gives you an idea. The human body, your blood is like around 83%. Your, did something happen?
No.
Oh, okay. The brain, 74.5%. Some of this is kind of controversial. Muscle, 76, bones, fat. So you can see how every organ of the body needs to use water, right? Oh, you go ahead. Oh, yeah. Yep, they're ready. That's right. We don't hold back dessert. So your brain, though, is the highest in water, 75 to 80% water. So the first thing that is affected when you are dehydrated is your brain, right? The most significant major complication of dehydration is the loss of a number of essential amino acids that are used to manufacture neurotransmitters. Remember yesterday we talked about amino acids are what? They are what make up your protein. And those amino acids will bypass the blood-brain barrier and nourish the neurotransmitters, which is what tells the connection of the body, the brain telling the body what to do, what it needs to do for all the messages. So here's a test you can do now that your hands are full. But when your hands aren't full, you can try this. You take a finger and your thumb and pull up on the back of your hand and pinch it together and leave go. And your skin should, bounce back. Thank you. Be very elastic. If it sticks together and kind of goes blah, right? That means you're dehydrated. So that's a good skin test you can try. Or dehydration test. Yes. Yes. And it is part of it. Your skin can thin, so lack of collagen and things like that we lose. So thinner skin can make that difference too, is true. But hydration is the big part of it. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. So adequate flow of water in and out of the cell keeps the cell interior in a health-maintaining alkaline state. Why do you want to be in an alkaline state? So disease doesn't grow, right? You want your body to be alkaline. The only part of your body you don't want alkaline, you want acidic, is your stomach, correct? But the rest of your body, you want alkaline. The body works really hard at making sure that your blood is alkaline, because if it becomes acidic, you'll die, right? So the biggest thing the body's focusing on is making sure especially that your blood is alkaline. But acidity will create disease. Yeah, sure. Yes. Correct. It can be a good thing. To me, what I like, so what makes it acidic? What kind of foods make it acidic is sugar, meat, animal products, very acidic, yeah. Sugar and meats or animal products. Those are the two biggest things. And then, of course, white bread, white pasta, white sugar, those kind of things are fit in the sugar, they can, category, they can make you acidic as well. So one of the things, so her question was baking soda and water, and natural baking soda without the added aluminum. It can alkalize the body, but what I promote is more greens, lots of greens to alkalize, and lemon juice. Lemon juice is very alkalizing, so lemon water. Yes. Yes. Tomatoes are more acidic, but now that's why I encourage people in the summer, we like to grow yellow tomatoes. And yellow tomatoes are not acidic, and they're very expensive in the store. So if you're going to grow tomatoes, grow lots of yellow, orange tomatoes. Especially people who have arthritis sometimes have issues with tomatoes. So the yellow is the way to go. Potatoes can be an issue for some people. Always go Yukon Gold or red potatoes. Those are less, an issue as well. Yes. Yes. So, okay, so health food store. Yeah, there is a brand actually, Bob's Red Mill. You know that one is a pure one. So that's a good one to go for. Baking soda does not usually have as much in the way of mercury though. Baking powder does. So if you're using baking powder to bake with, always make sure it says alum-free. And that's aluminum residue that they throw into your baking powder, and you truly don't need it. It doesn't make it work any better. It's just a way of disposing of it. And they do that into a number of our foods, actually. Kraft cheese slices, they have aluminum added to it. They will add that to a lot of processed foods. What do you think of the pie? Is it good? Yes. Sure. Yes. I'm coming to that. Yep, no, that's good. That's why you're in the front row. You're an A student. I will come to that. So the more urine you produce, oh yeah. I'll come to that one too. I have an eager bunch up here. They're like, move it. The more urine that is produced, the more easily the body keeps its interior alkaline. So the water is constantly flushing and cleaning you, right? That is the number one way, is making sure you get enough water. And a lot of times people say to me, well, I don't want to drink water because then I'm running to the washroom. But that's a good thing. You don't want to end up with a kidney issue either, right? So it is a good thing. And here's the thing. When you don't drink a lot of water, your body gets used to the fact that it's got to try to survive without it. And suddenly you give your body all this water, it doesn't know what to do with it. It just flushes you. And that's okay. Flushing is good. But as you keep it up, it'll start to actually use that water more, and you won't be running as much. Okay? So, a dry mouth. By the time you wait to have a dry mouth, you're already dehydrated. Don't wait for a dry mouth to say, I need some water, I'm thirsty. Okay, so it's actually one of the last indicators of dehydration. By the time you have a dry mouth, you are dehydrated. By the time that dry mouth becomes an indicator of water shortage, many delicate functions of the body have been shut down and prepared for deletion. Now, one of the things we don't hear much about, but studies have proven this, is juvenile diabetes. The insulin-producing cells of the pancreas are sacrificed as a result of persistent dehydration. So SIDS and juvenile diabetes, we're now realizing is happening from no water. So tell me this, do babies need water? Are babies human? Yes, right? They're not going to drink 8 glasses a day, obviously, but they need some water. And a lot of times we say, well, if they're nursing or breastfeeding, they don't need water, correct? But a little bit of water is still good for them. But the biggest risk are those that feed their babies formula. Any formula-fed babies are at risk for dehydration. They are the higher risk for SIDS and juvenile diabetes. So they need little bits of water between. And in the elderly, you know, as we get older, when we talk about our skin thinning and stuff, a lot of times because we're not drinking enough water as we age. And I have clients that see me and I'll ask, how many cups of water do you drink a day? And I just had one the other week, none. I said, oh, you must drink something. None. At first I used to think, well, this person's just goofing off with me. Now I'm not in shock anymore. When they tell me none, I believe them. It's very common. They drink absolutely no water. This one person told me that they will do some carbonated water with juice. They add a little bit of carbonated water to a glass of cranberry juice, and they drink that one glass once a day. That's it. That's it. And so eventually, because your body's telling you you're thirsty, especially with age, it stops telling you. And you're no longer thirsty, and that's what they'll say to me. Well, I'm not thirsty. And that's because your brain's not telling you anymore. Yes? Yes, because you haven't. So why do you wake up with a dry mouth in the morning, but you're not thirsty at night? Well, you've gone how many hours, right, without water? And then if you're a mouth breather, it's even more so. And here's the thing. When did I ask this one yesterday or no? What time of day is the most common for heart attacks? Morning. That's right, early morning. Yeah, that can be part of it. But dehydration. So we dehydrate through the night, our red blood cells become very sticky. And this occurs, it increases our risk of that heart attack. So drinking some water in the evening is great. Maybe not right before you go to bed, but at least an hour or two before. And you know, sometimes you go to bed and you're thinking, well, why do I have to get up to the washroom so many times? It's also gravity, right? So if you can, the hour before bed, sit and even put your feet up somewhere in an ottoman or on a lazy boy chair or whatever on the couch and be more horizontal, you can get rid of a lot of that fluid before you go to bed as well. But to me, you know, if I have to wake up a couple of times in the night and still drink water, it's worth it. So if I get up to the washroom, I still drink water. I always have a glass of water by my bed because I think it's really important. So, okay, so how much should we drink? We should consume 2 glasses of water at least a half hour before each meal, and 1 glass of water 2.5 hours after a meal. So ideally giving your stomach a chance to digest, then drink your water. And then we definitely need water before your meal, but give it a bit of space before your meal as well, and that prepares your enzymes for the food to come. Yes? Good question. No. I think I have a slide coming up on that. Beer is better? Is that what someone said? No. So ways to drink. How do we increase our water intake? So sometimes you're having a water bottle in your hand. That keeps wanting to progress. It's in your hand without even thinking, right? You sip on it, and before long, it's gone. Have a cup of water somewhere handy. Have another bottle of water somewhere handy. That it's always there, and subconsciously, you're sipping it, and before long, it's gone, right? So again, drink between meals, not during your meal. If you're drinking lots while you're eating, you're actually thinning out your enzymes, and as you're washing your food down, it has a harder time to break down and digest. So between your meals is the best time to do that. And we say keep a water bottle there, drink before, during, and after exercise is really important. But the key is not too cold of water. Too cold of water can actually jolt you into having a heart attack as well if you have real cold water when you're exercising hard. So room temperature, okay? Drink a glass or two in the evening, and yeah, that's what I was saying. Don't shock your body with the cold water. So here we are about the coffee, tea, coffee, alcohol, and manufactured beverages. It's a mistake to think they can substitute for water. Although these beverages contain water, they also contain dehydrating type substances, such as the caffeine. And so these substances rid the body of the water they are dissolved in. So you're drinking a cup of it, it pulls out that cup, plus additional water from your body's reserves. So every cup of coffee you drink, you're actually dehydrating yourself. You're going into a deficit. And depending on the type of coffee you drink, if you were to have a cappuccino, let's say, that can pull out up to 7 cups worth of water. So depending what you're drinking, right? So herbal teas, on the other hand, herbal teas count for water. So you can drink as many herbal teas as you want. And it's very healthy. You can do coffee substitutes. They're very good. They count for water. Yes? Okay, good question. No. So if you get naturally decaffeinated green tea, yes. But if not, green tea actually is higher in caffeine than even coffee. Yeah. And you want it naturally decaffeinated because sometimes they'll use a chemical that's worse than the caffeine for it as well. So yeah, you know, green tea is very high in antioxidants, but there's so many other things too. Goji berries, right? Very high in antioxidants. There's a lot of other foods you can take in. So do I drink green tea? I don't, actually. I never drink green tea. I just think there's better options just because of, caffeine and making sure I get it naturally decaffeinated. I've had people who have come to see me, serious stomach issues, go to the hospital at least once a month, can't figure out what's causing their problem. I'm trying to figure it out. And then finally I say, do you drink green tea? Oh yes, faithfully, you know? And I'll say, please don't. Let's stop the green tea and see what happens. No more stomach issues. So it's because it's very high in caffeine. Yes. Any herbal teas. If it says herbal tea, you're good. Herbal. Yep. Yeah, and herbal teas have so many benefits. Peppermint tea is a favorite of mine because it's high in potassium, especially if you're out gardening and out in the heat. Always end your day with a cup of peppermint tea. Replaces the potassium in your electrolytes. Very good for digestion. Yep, ginger tea, you know, excellent. Very, very good. So when there's dehydration because a person's not drinking enough water, your cells become depleted of their energy. So a lot of times people today, what can I take for energy? A question is, are you drinking enough water? They then must depend more on energy from food that's consumed instead of water. You remember yesterday I mentioned a lot of times we think we're hungry, but it's just a glass of water we need, right? The body is pushed into storing fat now and using its protein and starch reserves because it's easier to break these elements down than to store the fat. Than the stored fat to break it down. So if you're actually lacking in water, it needs water to break down the fats and the harder things to break down. And so you store the fat instead. So weight loss, 2 things. Weight loss, water will help to burn the fat. And secondly, the water will replace a lot of the food that we eat that we don't even need. We're just thirsty. Yes? Is there yes, can be. If you're drinking liters worth, you know? If so, you want to make sure your sugars are good because you could be a diabetic. That's a big one. And sometimes you can throw off your electrolyte balance if you're drinking tons and tons and tons.
There's worse things than water in beer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the water is the good part in that beer. So, energy. Everybody's asking about what do I do about energy? If your digestion's not working well, 75% of your energy goes into digestion. So many people are just running on 25% energy every day because their digestion is not well. So what are some symptoms of poor digestion related to what we would call low hydrochloric acid? So you remember I said your stomach needs to be the highest acidic out of the body, right? These are the symptoms: bloating, heartburn, acid reflux, gas. You could get ridges running front to back on your nails, teeth marks in your tongue. So if you stick out your tongue, look in a mirror, you can actually see the indentations on each side from where it rests against your teeth. Those are lack of hydrochloric acid. Do some of you see some of those symptoms you might be dealing with? Okay, that's good. So what can happen if we're low in hydrochloric acid? Over time, you will have depleted enzymes. There's two things that break down your food: hydrochloric acid and enzymes. And if you're low in hydrochloric acid, it's going to pull on all your enzyme reserves trying to break that food down, right? And eventually you're depleted of your enzymes. Now people say, well, eat more fresh foods, and that's what contains your enzymes, right? Well, that's great, as long as you have enough hydrochloric acid to break down your fresh foods to get to your enzymes, right? An imbalance in good intestinal flora. So you've heard when you take an antibiotic, it can kill off the good and the bad, right? So probiotics help to balance your good intestinal flora. Food sensitivities. So now what happens is you eat a food, and that hydrochloric acid is not there to break it down. So some large particles slip through the intestinal tract, and your body says, whoa, there's a foreign object here. So it begins to attack it. And what's it attacking? It's just food. There's no bacteria. It's not a virus. So in reality, the body attacks itself. And now you end up with different forms of food sensitivities. You also will start to end up with autoimmune diseases such as arthritis. You might start to get achy joints because now the body is attacking itself instead. You will have poor absorption of vitamin B12. You know, if you're a plant-based vegetarian, meaning you have no animal products, they usually say make sure you take B12, right? Because B12 is found where? In animal products. But here's the question for you. Who has, out of the population, they test who's low in B12, do you think it's more meat eaters or vegetarians? It's actually meat eaters that are the lowest in B12, even though they're harping on all the plant-based people need to take in B12 because you're not getting it. It's the meat eaters that are lacking it. Why? When B12 is in all the animal products. Because of the low hydrochloric acid. It's dependent on what we call the intrinsic factor. So you need hydrochloric acid to break it down and get to that B12. If you eat animal products, you need high hydrochloric acid to break animal products down. You don't need as high if you're eating plant-based products. Okay?
Doesn't this happen?
Yes, that's another reason. It can. You may not make as much hydrochloric acid. Can happen too. Yes. What about ulcers? Usually we say careful with the acid, right? Because of ulcers. What if I told you it's the opposite? People who have low hydrochloric acid are the ones that are prone to ulcers. The reason is ulcers come from this bacteria, H. pylori bacteria. Have you heard of that? So if you have enough hydrochloric acid on an empty stomach between meals, that hydrochloric acid cleans the debris. It kills any bacteria, any type of viruses, any type of stuff that should not be in the stomach, it kills it off. But if you're low in hydrochloric acid, this H. pylori bacteria is present there, and it wedges into the lining of your stomach, and if it begins to fester, now you've got an ulcer. So how do we take care of that? We actually, of course, have to buffer your stomach, because here's a question: if you put lemon juice on your finger, does it sting? No. But if you have a cut, does it sting? Yes. Same with hydrochloric acid in your stomach. Doesn't sting or burn, but if you have now an open wound like an ulcer, it's going to burn, isn't it? So we have to buffer it at that point, and we need to buffer it and heal that ulcer, right? And then you're able to increase your hydrochloric acid to prevent from getting another ulcer. I do. Yep. Crohn's disease is another one. Irritable bowel syndrome is another one. These can all happen from low hydrochloric acid. Hashimoto's, do you know what that is? It's where your body attacks the thyroid, and that can come from low hydrochloric acid. So we can end up with parasites. You hear lots about parasites today, right? It's like the cure-all is parasite cleansing. But contracting parasites from our food, this is very common. It can come on fruits, veggies, meats, and so forth. If you eat pork, guaranteed, there's always parasites in pork. There's the trichina worm. That's a guarantee. So if you've ever eaten pork, you want to make sure that you do parasite cleanses. But we can get different parasites from different foods, different parasites from traveling, and so forth, right? And so that stomach acid will actually help sterilize our food, killing off the potential infecting pathogens. It's a way of keeping even parasites under control if you have enough hydrochloric acid. We talked about the food sensitivities. If things aren't broken down, your body attacks it, especially when it comes to gluten and dairy. Small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, in which stomach acid, which keeps them at bay, bacteria in that small intestine can thrive on those poorly digested proteins. People with hypothyroidism were found to have SIBO. So a lot of people who have underactive thyroid also have low stomach acid. Guaranteed, because of the autoimmune, anyone with arthritis have low stomach acid. Nutrient depletions, especially iron, calcium, ferritin, B12, those nutrients you will lack if you're low in hydrochloric acid. So if you know especially a woman who tends to be low in iron and constantly taking more and more iron and can't get her iron levels up, it could be the lack of hydrochloric acid. If prolonged, low stomach acid can progress to other issues, right? So you could end up with tumors, cancerous growths in the gastrointestinal tract. The list kind of goes on. So another term for hydrochloric acid is betaine. So betaine supports the stomach acid. It can make a tremendous difference in a person's symptoms, because once you begin to digest your protein correctly, a few things can happen. One is your body does not need to use as much energy to try to be breaking this food down on its own. The other one is amino acids that are found in the proteins now come so that they're usable, and they will now cross the blood-brain barrier and work for nourishing the neurotransmitters. We are less likely to react to other foods. I know people that react to foods, and then pretty soon more and more and more and more, and it progressed to a point they can only eat 5 foods. Everything else they're allergic to, right? And it's all based on this. We can feel lighter after we eat, so that heavy, groggy feeling, and then we begin to bloat and have gas and all that acid reflux. And we do not have the cravings for food when we're full. So a number one thing is the lemon we are mentioning. Lemon is excellent. So here's the question: how can lemon be helpful in the way of alkalizing, but yet it can be helpful in hydrochloric acid in the stomach, right? It's kind of interesting. Lemons are acidic, but as soon as they hit your saliva, they become alkaline. Pretty neat. So therefore, you add lemon to your water, and you're sipping that, and it's actually alkalizing your body. Now, in saying that, what's the point of taking lemon juice? to increase your hydrochloric acid then in your stomach if it's alkalizing your body. Lemons don't give you hydrochloric acid, but they have a special property to actually stimulate your stomach to make hydrochloric acid. So lemons will teach your stomach to make it naturally on its own. It teaches your stomach to do what it needs to do. And the best time is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Yeah. Yes. So question was, what lemon juice should we use? Fresh squeezed lemon, or from a health food store, a pure lemon juice. So I brought some with me. Maybe Ron, hold one up. This is what it looks like. It's just organic, pure lemon juice, okay? If you're buying the real lemon in a grocery store, it won't work because they add citric acid or ascorbic acid or something else to it. It will not work. That's fine for cooking and everything, but for the lemon water, you want pure. So, yeah, okay. And yes, you can interchange limes and lemons. Yeah, yeah. So, and yeah, okay. The lemon, with its quick citric acid, quickly changes an acid constitution into an alkaline one as soon as it hits your saliva. So lemons are very good at cleansing and detoxing. So why would we even want to cleanse? To dissolve and eliminate toxins and congestion in the body, to purify the glands and the cells, to eliminate waste, to eliminate hardened material in the joints and the muscles, relieve pressure and irritation in the nerves, arteries, blood vessels, build a healthy blood system. There's lots of reasons, isn't there, for cleansing. We can also use it to help us with food cravings and correct our appetite to get it under control. I love to do the lemon cleanse as a way of finding food allergies, food sensitivities, if you will. Usually allergies, if you think of someone that has a peanut allergy, we can't reverse that, right? But what most of us have when we lack hydrochloric acid is not a true allergy. It's an allergen. It's a sensitivity. And once you get your digestion all going and you give it a bit of a break, usually you can slowly reintroduce it and handle it to a certain point compared to an actual allergy. Physical healing from diseases such as cancer, and some people do, like, for example, fasting, right? You fast for spiritual reasons as well. And character growth, believe it or not, when you do a cleanse, something like the lemon cleanse, have you ever heard of the lemon cleanse or the master cleanse? You're drinking just a lemonade diet and you're not eating food, and so you're actually detoxing your whole digestive tract, kind of like fasting, but using a lemonade drink to keep your blood sugars stable and so forth. But it's amazing how it opens your head to, like, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? You know, because you can be so satisfied as long as you're giving your body the calories that it needs and the nutrients it needs. Yeah. So, I mean, even one day is useful. Between day 3 and day 4, you go into a deeper cleanse. So keeping that in mind, after day 3, you got to be more gentle when you come onto food. I say at least 7 days, a good 7 days, if you want to find food sensitivities. Because as you come off and you reintroduce foods, because you've been cleansed of all food, you will have that instant reaction and you'll know what foods you're sensitive to. Yeah, it's a little cleanse of itself. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So you do have to be careful with that. You might want to ask your doctor to make sure. You do want to keep on your medications while you're doing this as well. Whereas if you're just taking vitamins and supplements, you can stop those while you're doing it. So just kind of watch for that, for sure. Yes?
So that's a fast.
Correct. It's all part of it. Yes. Yep. For sure. Yes. So apple cider vinegar is pure hydrochloric acid. So instead of taking the hydrochloric acid or betaine capsules with your meal, you could do apple cider vinegar at the start of your meals. And that gives you hydrochloric acid. Yes. If you're using a lot at every meal, it can pull potassium out of your body. So you do have to watch that if you have a blood pressure issue. Just watch. Sure. Yeah. Question? Good? Oh, yeah. For the lemon drink, that was here. So, oh, I guess I can't go all the way ahead. So you're doing 1 or 2 tablespoons of pure lemon juice, yeah, in a tall glass of room temperature water. And wait a good half hour before eating. So the lemon cleanse or the master cleanse, yes, but for the lemon water is different. It kind of kickstarts your stomach too. Yes, it can help. Depending on your situation, yes, correct. If you're, I've written a book called The Ultimate Lemon Cleanse. It's out of print right now, waiting for it to be reprinted, making a couple of changes. But I do have a website. It's called totalhealthineckville.com. And I also have my business cards if you need. You can ask Ron. But totalhealthineckville.com. And on there, you can order the PDF if you're wanting it. So that's another option. So who should cleanse? Anyone wanting to cleanse their system of toxins and impurities? Anyone wanting to improve their health and their lifestyle habits? Anyone between the age of 5 to 100. And if you're over 100, we might make an exception. But keep in mind, there's different cleanses you can do, right? You don't have to just do that lemon cleanse. Just increasing your water intake is a form of a cleanse, okay? So do what works best for you. There could be raw foods. Maybe you'll say, you know what, for 5 days, I'm just going to eat all raw foods. So that can be a form of a cleanse. You might say, okay, I'm going to do juicing. So that's fine. But you know, it is wise to know what juicing you're doing too. If you're quite overweight and you went into just pure like orange juice, that could give you a heart attack. So you just need to be wise of what you're using. So fasting, some people can fast, others have a harder time. Water fasting particularly can be hard on your blood sugars depending on the person. You might say, you know what, I'm just going to cut out fats and refined sugars and maybe lower my salt or cut out salt. That is a cleanse, a bigger cleanse than you realize for 1 week to avoid all that. And water, as I said, and specific organ cleansing. So let's say you want to cleanse your liver, I think I'm hitting on there, then you would do certain herbs or certain things specifically for that as well. Now, a lot of times we'll do cleanses and this kind of thing for certain illnesses, right? Like the liver or whatever, but cancer is another example. A lot of people get into juicing when it comes to cancers. Have you ever heard the saying, starve out cancer? Yeah, don't do that. One of my elective courses, when I got my PhD, my dissertation was actually in Laetrile, B17. I knew cancer was going to be a big thing, so I've studied cancer a fair bit. So if anyone has questions on cancer, check with me after, or email me, or call me, and so forth. Those are options. But one of the things is you don't want to starve out cancer, okay? As I was saying in one of my elective courses, one of the things I learned that'll always stick with me, out of the statistics of cancer deaths, okay, 50% of those cancer deaths did not die from the actual cancer. They died from starvation. Isn't that eye-opening? So the key is to make sure that you are eating. What counts is the food that you're putting in. Don't, rely on a lot of desserts and chips, and go for these more whole foods that have all this nutrients so that you can develop those healthy cells to multiply faster than the sick cells, right? Don't starve. And so a lot of times we get into a lot of juicing and even raw foods. Raw foods is high in nutrients, but can you pack enough in is the question. So still steamed vegetables and, a baked potato and things like that to get your calories up, to get the food in. Okay, but the juicing has a purpose in place because, your green juices and maybe vitamin A from the carrots, that's great, but you still need food and you need to keep up your calories. Not just, you've been diagnosed with cancer, that affects you, how you feel about eating. Maybe the treatments you're going through affects how you feel about eating, and so you got to keep that's the number one thing, is make sure people keep their appetite up and keep eating. Yes. Yes, that's another one I've heard of, for sure. Have you tried it? No. Okay, yeah, that's another one. I've never tried it either, but. Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. That's one of his. Very neat. Okay. All right. You're Lorraine's friend, right? Yes. Okay, so Ron has a bottle of lemon juice for you for Lorraine. So I just make sure you don't forget it, because I forgot it last week for her. Sorry, question. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like the,
Yeah.
and yet,
Absolutely. And that's a big point. That's exactly where I'm saying don't juice too much when you have cancer. Yeah, that's right. Lots of greens. The carrot is your vitamin A. But even so, people who drink a lot of carrot juice will push themselves into hypoglycemia. So you want other things like celery and greens to help balance that out. But yes, the foods are important. So you might want to do some juicing, but don't rely totally on that, for sure. Yeah, because yes, sugars will feed cancer. More of the refined sugars in the whole form, like your fruit and your vegetables, you got the fiber. But when you juice, we've removed that fiber, right? Yeah, exactly. No, you're on the right track. Okay, so just mentioning, we mentioned already the master cleanse or the ultimate lemon cleanse. It's been around over 60 years old. It cleanses every organ of the body, specifically the digestion, liver, kidneys, colon. Ideal when you're feeling your immune system's down. It'll give you that boost. It'll burn fat, but it'll not cause muscle loss. That's the good thing about it. A proper cleanse will work for someone who's underweight or overweight. The key is making sure you get enough of your calories in. And if you have fat to burn, you'll burn it. And if you don't, you shouldn't lose weight, right? And it'll get rid of those fat cells, and around there, stored in the fat, is your heavy metals. So that can help to eliminate that as well. It'll break up mucus, increase circulation. That's where we add in the cayenne pepper to help it circulate. That can also give you vitamin C, B, and E, which will increase the performance of the lemon. The neat thing about the lemon is it pulls out toxins, but it also heals the body. So it detoxes and heals. Very good for fermentative effects of a bad liver. So your lemon water on an empty stomach, very good for the liver, right? Helps repair as well as cleanse, as I mentioned. It'll increase elimination through the skin. So if you have a fever, it's very good for that. It's a germicide, very powerful in different strains of flus. Local antiseptic for offensive bad breath. Why? Because it's helping digestion. Bad breath comes from poor digestion. And it'll destroy up to 20 different germs. And so we know that because a lot of our cleaning agents always have now orange oil and lemon oil, right? Because they know the power of it. It helps cut apart and remove mucus in the throat. A lot of singers, speakers will use lemon juice, high amounts of ascorbic acid. It's a mighty immune booster. It'll naturally thin the blood and convert your body to be alkaline. So there's only one time in your life that you want to be acidic, your body. Do you know when that is? When you're dead. Because your body decomposes and goes back to dirt, right? So if you don't want to be decomposing while you're walking and talking, you want to stay alkaline, right? Okay. So lemons contain phosphorus. One of the grandest properties is the ability to help digest, break down proteins. Here are some specific supplements you can take for different kinds of cleansings, different organs, right? Milk thistle is one of the most gentle on your system for the liver. Children can do it. Any age people can do it. You can take 1 capsule up to 3 times a day. Easy. Actually, you can take up to 2 depending on the strength. So like 500 milligrams up to 3 times a day with your meals if you need to. Dandelion roots and greens. Very good. Dandelion, very good again for the liver. But we also know dandelion's really good now for even cancer. It's fighting so many different things. Dandelion's excellent. Beetroot. That helps for the liver, so just even eating beets, more beets. But you can get beetroot in capsules, and beetroot does what they call natural nitric oxide for the body. Actually helps to open the vessels to help the blood flow smoother. So if you have high blood pressure, beetroot can really help in the way of getting the blood to flow, right? Even for cognitive, because it opens for the brain. Glutathione is a natural detoxer of heavy metals, and it's the body's strongest antioxidant. So it detoxes and heals. Greens, any greens. Chlorophyll works like, I think I have another slide showing you about chlorophyll, but chlorophyll is what makes things green. Candida, of course, parasites, those are a whole different ball game as well. But these are all different types of cleanses. So the milk thistle, the ugly thistle everyone hates, is something that we should actually love and cherish. Very, very good. It's also good against diabetes, seasonal allergies, metabolic syndrome, gastrointestinal problems, and cancer. It's an anti-inflammatory, but liver, biggest for liver. We are, again, not too much into that, but again, very good, especially if you are on cancer drugs, it'll help to protect against the damage of those cancer drugs. Yes?
How do you source that?
Yes, supplement, capsules. Yeah, or tea, or, yeah.
I've seen a recipe.
Okay, that with the oil is gallstones. That's the flesh gallstones. Yes, that can work, yeah. Yeah, and you know, if you happen to have kidney stones as well, or gallstones, there is a supplement you call, of a plant called Chanca piedra. And the other name for it is stone crusher. It's very good at breaking down kidney stones. Okay? This is a brand new product. Love, love, love. You combine that, especially with milk thistle. If you have a fatty liver or cirrhosis of the liver, this one is fabulous. It supports liver function, protects liver cells and bile flow. It'll detox your liver, the liver's natural ability to filter toxins and help reduce oxidative stress on liver cells. It'll protect your liver cells from stress. Lots of stuff coming out on that now. But this is interesting. It suggests TUDCA insulin sensitivity. So people who have diabetes, it'll approximately 30% decrease in 4 weeks of your sugars, your glucose levels. And it crosses the blood-brain barrier to offer neuroprotective benefits. So if anyone has a fatty liver, take this, take milk thistle, and it works tremendous. And why would it lower the sugars? Because a lot of the issues people have with high sugars is liver issues. So if you think of metformin, that works with the liver, right, to help in lowering your sugars. This takes care of the actual liver problems so that it can work better. And instead of metformin, by the way, you use berberine. If you've ever heard of berberine, berberine is equivalent to metformin in the way that it works powerful. Yes? It will. So think of this. The gallbladder is actually the backup to the liver. When you have a gallbladder issue, that means your liver is already at a point of done, right? Exhaustion. So you want to treat your liver, and it also helps with the gallbladder. Yeah, they work hand in hand. And that hydrochloric acid is a big thing for the liver and the gallbladder as well, and here's why. When that food sits and ferments in your stomach because there's no hydrochloric acid to break it down and move through, it ferments. And what is fermentation? Alcohols, right? It makes an alcohol, and it actually goes into your bloodstream. What cleans your blood? Your liver, right? Filters your blood. And many times people will end up with an alcoholic liver, and they don't drink alcohol or much of it, right? And it's because of that. That fermentation is going, yes, into the bloodstream as if you were an alcoholic. So you want to get your digestion going, and then that'll take and heal your liver, and you're healing both ends of it. And you can reverse that. So I did bring some TUDCA with me as well today, because it's brand new out. And TUDCA, when they did the studies, it was all based from enzymes from a bear. And so people panicked that it was from a bear. But that was the original. This is not. These are plant-based. It's all safe. So your body keeps the bile acid pool balanced, but certain stresses can throw it off. So if you're on a high-fat diet, that can do it, right? That can cause the issue. Liver disease, obesity, blockages in the bile ducts. When this happens, the pool shifts towards hydrophobic acids, which can inflame the cells and slow the bile flow. So with your gallbladder question. In liver disease studies, supplementing with hydrofolic acids, like that TUDCA that I just showed you, has been shown to make bile less toxic and easier to flow, improving the markers of liver stress. And it does take a couple of months, but people who have high liver enzymes, it'll bring them down. So again, TUDCA acts like a chemical chaperone. It helps the endoplasmic reticulum. So anyways, we won't get into all that, but which stress response will trigger inflammation and cell death. So many of us are having high inflamed bodies, right? Again, so you can see all this information that goes with that. I won't spend a lot of time with that, but it's just, you do some research, amazing, this product now. So leafy greens in general needs to be packed into your diet. As we mentioned, it's a very good alkalizing food. And as you learned yesterday, I mentioned by eating more greens, you can lower your age by at least 5 years. Right? So chlorophyll is what makes your plants green. Very detoxifying, very good on the liver, very good for the blood. It helps digestion as well. And chlorophyll stimulates your red blood cells, quality and quantity. People have a hard time getting their iron levels up. Chlorophyll can do that as well. It's going to detox the blood. It'll detox the liver. So if you've been in a lot of fumes, do some chlorophyll, and that'll detox that out of your blood. And yeah, look at it. It's even supposed to slow down the graying of hair. Maybe we'll reverse it. Well, I know, you could be our experiment. One of the primary ways of including chlorophyll in your diet is, of course, eat lots of greens. You can get into the juices, like green juices, the powders. You can take it by capsule. Moringa's become a big popular one, right? Kale, we know, is very good. It's very good for body odor, skin conditions, and fighting different kinds of cancer. That's why a lot of times people do wheatgrass juicing, right, for cancer. But the neat thing is, it's an actual natural blood transfusion. Chlorophyll is chemically similar to hemoglobin, a protein essential in red blood cells, as it carries oxygen around a person's body. And so very good for people who have anemia or different types of blood disorders, right? Very good. But look at this. If we took a red blood cell and put it under a microscope next to a chlorophyll green cell, they're almost identical. It's literally like a blood transfusion. Isn't that pretty cool? It's very neat. So this is a plant blood transfusion, and you can see here all the benefits. It's gonna bind those heavy metals and get rid of it. It's gonna oxygenate your blood. It's gonna alkalize your blood. This is life right here, and decreasing inflammation. Okay?
Cutting your grass, you should be.
Correct. That's right. Here's all these rich greens and chlorophyll. If it's green, it's got chlorophyll. Okay? Yep. You're welcome. Targeted nutrients of cellular repair. So CoQ10 is one that's very good for cellular repair, something called NAD. You can get that as well. These are just some of the things. Pomegranates, walnuts, very good in helping to clear out worn out mitochondria. It has a direct link on healing your cells. Okay, same thing. Here are for antioxidant, DNA integrity. So magnesium, we talked about that a little bit yesterday, but it has so many other things. Did you know magnesium is a required cofactor for hundreds of enzymes in the body, including those in DNA replication and repair? Selenium, we mentioned Brazil nuts, couple a day. Again, good for repair and protecting against oxidative stress. We need selenium to fight cancer. Sulforaphane is very special from broccoli. Broccoli sprouts, very high in sulforaphane. Very good for cancer, very good for skin conditions, and so forth. And then vitamin C and vitamin E also. Berries, we know, very important in the diet, right? Dietary strategies, intermittent fasting, you've heard of that, and that's good. But the thing is, between supper and breakfast, you should have about 12 hours in there. And that is what we call breakfast, breaking the fast, right? And so that is a way of intermittent fasting, is that breaking the fast, just giving yourself that space between supper and breakfast. Cutting back a little bit on calories, so really not being too high, and your fats and your sugars can make a difference. And plant-based, lots of color, lots of nutrients, you know, in those plants. Anyone hear of an infrared sauna? Anyone have an infrared sauna? Yeah, it's very good, very good. We own one, and it goes deep into the skin, into where your fat layer is, and gets rid of the heavy metals in that as well. But if you were in there for 30 minutes, it'll strengthen your immune system. It'll induce what we call a fever, so like it's giving you a fever to help fight disease. The same effect in 30 minutes is the same exercises the heart receives a similar workout to in 20 to 30 minutes sauna as if you ran 8 kilometers. Isn't that something? Yeah, it's incredible. What about rest? Is that important? Long-term lack of sleep will increase your risk of obesity, diabetes, and heart and blood vessel disease. So we need sleep. Lack of sleep can contribute to weight gain due to disruptions in appetite and regulating hormones in the metabolic process. It can lead to higher levels of a hunger hormone to make you hungry more. Isn't that interesting? And it'll lower the levels of leptin, which is a satiety. How do you say that? Satiety? How is it? Satiety? What do you say? It is satiety. Okay, I don't know. I always get confused on that one too. But increased appetite, reduced feelings of fullness, and so forth. We know that it plays a big role in people, especially who have diabetes, in even controlling your sugar levels if you don't get enough sleep. Sleep is worth, have you ever heard that? 1 hour before midnight is equal to 2 after? It's actually true. I used to think my mom just said that to make me go to bed early. But it actually is true. So earlier to bed, earlier to rise, right? That's right. I know. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm waiting for the wealthy. I don't know, am I wise? But daily rest or sleep. So we have a 24-hour circadian rhythm. We want our body to be on that. Eat at the same time. Sleep on the same times. Right? We need a weekly rest. We need recreation. We need meditation, prayer, reading God's word. As I talked about yesterday morning, that is one of the most calming ways for our mind. And then we talked about attitude yesterday as well, but what about counting your blessings? That kind of fits right in there, right? Willie Nelson says, when I started counting my blessings, my whole world turned around. So thinking about our blessings rather than our, discouraging. Yes, exactly. So this is my last slide, I think, and you probably saw this yesterday, this list for those who attended as well. And this is the list that goes with being able to obtain and get your body working all together, functioning. And the only other one I would add to that would be attitude. Right? So if you take that first letter going all the way down, it says new start, put attitude at the top, and you have a new start, right? So it's pretty cool. All right, and I think that's it. Is there any questions? Yes? Suggestions to help you sleep. Yeah, that's another, well, yesterday we talked a little bit, remember the serotonin, so the tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin. Being in that set pattern of the same bedtime and same get-up time makes a big difference as well. Just going for a brisk walk. Oh, this is what I forgot yesterday, and I was kicking myself that I forgot, and now I almost forgot again. We talked about cortisol yesterday and how to get rid of it out of the body. The number one way is exercise. Pumps the old blood out with that cortisol and brings the new blood in, right? So when you go to bed at night and you have this cortisol and you're stressed out, what happens when you sleep? It's for rest, relaxation, and restoration, right? You heal while you sleep. But if you have cortisol going through your bloodstream, you're not restoring, you're not healing. Have you ever gone to bed and wake up in the morning and you feel like a truck hit you? Yeah, that can be the effects of cortisol. That's right, don't go to bed angry, that's right. Very good. And so going for a brisk walk in the evening will pump that old blood out, bring the fresh blood in, and you can go to sleep without that cortisol working its way through you. And you can sleep easier too. Yeah. There are natural sleeping combinations and aids as well. Even just lemon balm. You can do lemon balm tea. You can do lemon balm tincture. Yeah. That's a good one. Absolutely. Magnesium especially. People find to be helpful. Yep, hour before bed. That's right. It relaxes the muscles. Yep, can help you sleep. Now, there's different magnesiums. So a magnesium bisglycinate is gentle on the body, high absorption, works great for muscles, great for sleep. If you do magnesium citrate, that can cause loose bowels. So be careful with that. Whereas the bisglycinate will not affect your bowels. Bisglycinate, magnesium bisglycinate. I think I might even have some back there so you can see it, what it looks like. Yeah, but citrate is, if somebody suffers constipation, they can do the citrate at night, and that can help with the bowels. Any other questions? Ron, is the lemon juice gone? It's gone. Sorry. I should have brought more. It's hard to know what to bring. I need a whole trailer, huh? Yeah. Yes. My store is in a little town called Eckville. So do you know where Sylvan Lake is? I am about, well, Eckville's the next little town, 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, so it's near Sylvan Lake. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'm sure you'll find some. That's right. There we go. Excellent. Monday to Thursday. No, Monday to, I have to think here. Monday to Wednesday, 9 till 5. Thursday, 9 till 6. And Friday, 9 till 3. Yeah. Total Health. Yeah. And I have my business cards if you want. Yeah. And sometimes we are open a little bit later, you know, just depends. You can call us if you're on your way or something. Yes? Yeah, that Tudka. Yeah, Tudka. So that's the one. Did you see my slides on it? For liver. Yes. So you can, okay, so Tudka, those who go for Tudka, you want to start gentle with it, okay? Because it can cause some digestion issues till you get used to it. So start with one at breakfast, one at supper. If you do milk thistle with it, it'll work even better. But do one at breakfast, one at supper, and you can increase to the point that you're doing 2 at breakfast, 2 at supper, eventually. If you have high enzymes and you really need to reverse a liver issue, then work up to a point that you're taking 4 a day. Otherwise, the 2 a day is good. But it's most effective at about 1,500 milligrams. Yes? No. No, it shouldn't be something you have to take forever. You want it, the liver yeah, yeah, you stop when you die, he says. What's that? No, it won't harm you. But a liver is really neat. That's the one organ that regenerates itself. So if you're giving it this support and the liver regenerates itself, and you're changing your diet or whatever that caused the problem maybe, or got your digestion going, you shouldn't have to live on it, right? You want to be able to reverse what the damage is. Yeah, but it won't hurt you either, like she says. You wouldn't take 4 a day though. Yeah. Other questions? Okay. Do you feel filled up food-wise and knowledge-wise? Good boy. I'm glad. Awesome. That's right. He's got some leftover. That's right. Excellent. Okay. Well, Pastor, that's it.